plane, almost in record time, and flew that plane with extraneous explosives into a building, coincidentally enough, called the Echelon Building. Some of you might have heard of Echelon or Carnivore. These are the computer algorithm programs that listen to your phone calls and read your emails, and whenever you say bomb or something, they might look at you as being a potential terrorist. Well, I want to say, you can say bomb with me now, Obama. Don't say that in an airport. So Joe Stack flew that plane into the building, and immediately, we in Austin, Texas, I could see the smoke from my driveway. I was in Rhode Island, which many people consider a suburb of New York City, when 9/11 happened. And we were waiting for the massive media attacks. All of us in Austin, where we have, as you know, quite a front for the resistance, for the freedom movement, for the truth movement, we were expecting, okay, well, we're going to be demonized now. They're going to demonize our freedom candidate. We were running a candidate, Deborah Medina, against two Bilderberg candidates, almost took them out. And we expected that this thing to be exploited at every level in 2 seconds. Well, Osama bin Laden did it. Oh, it was homegrown terrorists that did it. Osama bin Laden, of course, from his ice slab somewhere, because as we know, he's been gone. He's left us quite some time ago. We expected the same old program and the same old routine to run and run again. Here's a terrorist. We must, take everybody's rights. We must cripple general aviation. We must make sure that the people don't have guns. These people are taking our rights, and they can't even protect themselves. Fort Hood, shooting at Fort Hood. IRS, CIA was in that building. FBI was in that complex. They keep telling us that we must give up our rights, our ability to protect ourselves so that they can protect us, and they can't protect themselves. My point, though, is that they did not exploit this, and the reason they didn't exploit it is twofold, in my opinion. One is that it was real. It was, call it terrorism, call it a desperate act, call it a man's only option. I'm not going to justify violence by any means. But I think that was really a real event, and I think we're going to see more of that. As John F. Kennedy said, if you make peaceful revolutions impossible, you'll make violent revolutions inevitable. He ought to know about that. What did the FBI and what did the alphabet agencies do? What did the media do? I mean, we had the underpants bomber. Okay, man, they milked that for all it was worth. Now you're going through your naked scanners, and it's even more insane just trying to get on an airplane. There's nothing they can do to actually protect you. Of course, you do know that, right? There is no such thing as security. Security is just another word for control. Remember that when you visit the Department of Homeland Control, or look at your Homeland Control number. So they didn't milk it. They didn't milk it because A, it really happened, and they didn't control it, and they didn't know really how to spin that, and B, because I think the people aren't falling for it anymore. Sure, they could have used this, again, never waste a good crisis, Joe Stack, we're all Joe Stacks, your neighbor is Joe Stack, you're Joe Stack, we're all a bunch of terrorists, and this is generally, I'm sorry if this offends anyone, what Democrats do. The Democrats make we the people in America the terrorists, the Republicans make the other guy the terrorist, where all the oil and the resources, and China might be coming into play. Or maybe to protect Israel, which is something we're mad and crazy about doing, and it's had serious genocidal consequences for all of their neighbors, but that's a story for another day. Woo! We the people don't believe it anymore. I can tell you, if you look back through the archives of just this last year of Cousin Barry Obama, you will see that they did multiple sting operations. They busted 3 or 4 guys. They got a guy in Dallas to actually go and pretend he was going to push the plunger. They roped him in. They do, this is what 1993 World Trade Center was all about. Wow, really? Yeah, it was in the newspapers. It was admitted it was an FBI sting operation. The FBI gave the terrorists the bombs. They were supposed to use fake bombs. No, use real bombs. I mean, if they would get caught doing that in 1993, is it out of the realm of possibility, folks, that they would try it again in 2001? There's a lot of problems with Oklahoma City. But you look back at the Obama administration and all these terrorists, oh man, they've got terrorists on trial. Will we have the trials at Gitmo? Will there be military tribunals? Which there probably will be. Where will they try the terrorists, the terrorists, the terrorists? We're catching terrorists. We killed the #1 guy in Al-Qaeda or Hamas or... I have to laugh, you know, when I think about the Taliban, because then I remember, oh yeah, that's right, when we were invading Afghanistan to get the Taliban, we flew them all out on C-130 so that they wouldn't be there, and the chicken farmers and the goat herders and the like got turned in, and they were at Gitmo. That's the story you know, and that's true, and thank you for thinking that one through. But the people aren't falling for it. They don't buy it anymore. It was so easy to do 9/11 because we really were, in a way, kind of ripe for that, in a way a little bit naive sometimes about the ways of the world. Now we've all grown up. So you take a look at the evidence, and the evidence is there. What is the next step? Accountability. Now, if I'm Columbo, I would love for this to happen to the powers that be, the Rumsfelds, the Cheneys, the Myers, the Buzzy Krongards, the folks on Wall Street. But it's pretty easy to understand, isn't it? Well, you have a motive, you had the opportunity, you benefited, and you covered it up. Gee, I wonder who might, be guilty here. I wonder, does that make any sense to anyone? Instead, no investigation, we immediately write it off. It would be as if there's a violent crime or a murder in your neighborhood. They go right in, they look at the body, they go, I don't know, this guy did it. End of story. But I have a question. No, shut up! End of story, it's over. We don't want to talk about that. We, the people, dare call it treason. High treason. With the highest penalty to be paid. Now, it'd be real easy for us to go, well, we know you knew something. If you're not going to talk, we'll waterboard you 300 or 400 times to see if we can get to the truth. Be real easy to just go ahead and fill the light poles on Wall Street with hanging corpses of those who committed treason, because our founding fathers who fought and died in Valley Forge would have done that. We've got a couple of problems. First problem is this heinous crime of mass murder, this psychological warfare, which I believe is just another version of Operation Phoenix that they used to terrorize the people in Vietnam, now being used on Americans. All of this happened right under the noses of the cops, the media, the people, the world, and no one dares believe it. Can't talk about it. No investigation. Wrong suspects. That's a problem. Number one, you can't acknowledge there was a crime. Kind of hard to get an investigation, kind of hard to get accountability when a good amount of Americans don't either care or don't want that kind of accountability. Won't